This is Moments with Mary, and today Paul Murphy, the Town Council's with me. Thanks for coming, Paul.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me again, Mary.
So it was a rip-roaring Tuesday, and we had a lot of subjects, so I thought we would just go over the subjects and talk about the agenda that we had. I think the first thing we talked about was the National Grid.
Yes.
See, I was confused because National Grid always comes to us, and I'm thinking, how do we know what's going on? So I guess the DPW was supposed to go out there and look?
Yeah. From my understanding, I think they did look at, I think it was the Center Street one, but not the Winter one, from my understanding from the town manager.
Oh, okay. Because I'm thinking, how would we know where everything's supposed to go?
Right.
So I guess they'll send him out and ask him. But if the residents didn't know, I mean, would it be a problem? So I don't really know if there should be more of a, a program, how it goes, filters through.
I'd love to learn more about, how they determine where the poles lie and then how they determine how deep into somebody's property or how deep they can actually go. Because I think that was surprising to me. I know the first gentleman who got up and spoke, he had mentioned, I think he said close to like 50 feet into his property the pole was or something. Yeah. Which was surprising.
I don't know if he's that far from the road.
Yeah.
Where they have to bring it in. I don't know. But yeah, well, that's what I mean. I'm making decisions, and I'm thinking, should I make decisions? Because I don't really know. I haven't walked the site. I have no idea of the regulations. So maybe even zoning should get involved.
Yeah. Well, it was nice to know that the residents are paying attention and showing up to the meeting when they felt like there was an issue, because it was good to hear from both of them.
Yeah.
Three of them.
But we really, it's sad that we can't help the first guy because it's been so long.
Right.
But hopefully that guy that showed up from National Grid, I'll tell you, he was very gracious with everybody and answered their questions. Yeah. So I have high hopes he'll help that one.
Yeah. A little unaware of what was going on, but he did seem very helpful.
He did. And he was standing there asking questions, and he was very polite. It was nice to see someone that comes in our town that's really, respects the residents and takes their time.
Yeah, I agree. Totally. He was engaging with them.
Yeah, he was really good.
A lot of people couldn't hear the conversation. Even some of us couldn't, between the residents and him, but it was very open, good dialogue back and forth.
Yeah, you could see they walked away happy and they felt heard. Yes. And I think that's the biggest thing.
And I'm glad we continued it so we can discuss it next meeting and ensure that.
And we can learn more because, they come up all the time and I feel like I'm saying yes. But then I thought, who's watching? And not that National Grid would do anything, but we got to protect the residents and their property.
Sure.
So I'm glad to find out that DPW is involved in it.
I wonder if we could almost ask the town manager, make it a requirement that DPW does at least a drive-by to understand some of these things, right?
Yeah. Or let us know of their concerns, because we don't get it one way or another.
Right.
Yeah. I like that the planning board does that.
Yes.
They'll send us letters and even show up at our things to keep us informed. That's a huge thing. So the MBTA was a big thing.
It was, yeah. I know we were specific, a little bit confusing for myself as I went back and forth with the town attorney, but it looks like we're making some progress there. And I think I've spoken on this and I've spoken at the meetings that I've kind of wavered back and forth with this legislation throughout the whole process. Yeah. I think it was my first meeting and we had voted in the first iteration of the MBTA legislation. Yeah. And that was nearly 2.5 years ago. I knew very little about it, had to catch up as much as I could in the week and a half I had, 2 weeks, and then vote on it. Yeah.
I think it was confusing because, I was watching. I even spoke it once before I became a councilor. It was confusing. See, I didn't realize, because I knew the Waterford had that property, but they were making the center of the town. So now we have 2 districts. Yes. And I thought, why put that on us? Why have 2 districts? Yeah. And I know everyone talks about a transit, but I've lived in towns with 2 tracks. 1 track is not going to be a transit. Right. You ever been on the 2 tracks? You get into Boston, like 30 minutes, they're flying through. I don't know if you've ever taken the Bridgewater, because I would used to go into Boston all the time. Mm-hmm. But this one, they have 3 stops just in Brockton. Right. It's a slow ride. Yes. So I don't think anyone's...
I'm taking it.
Yes. So I can't see us ever becoming a transit town with 1 track. Yes. And I thought the resident that brought up the question is, how much money do we spend on this? Why are we paying for the T station where it's on state property? I thought he brought up a lot of good questions.
Yeah, I think so. I see very little benefit in the train situation right now. I'm not an active user. I've tried it a few times. I'd love to see what the ridership is for this, for the commuter rail, and for our stop in particular, how many people are taking it. Probably impossible to do, but then breaking it down even among students. So how many students are using it in Bridgewater State versus how many residents in Bridgewater, the local area, using it?
When President Clark from BSU was on, I asked him, did he know how many? He said no. He didn't think it was a big amount.
Yeah.
I mean, there's only 100 spots over there.
Right.
So it'd be fun to sit over there
The few
one day.
times that I've taken it, I haven't had trouble finding a spot, although I've heard
neither.
of a few other people maybe in the beginning. I think it was pre-COVID. Maybe a lot more people had taken the train.
Well, some of the students I heard that were parking there because they didn't know.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure that was part of it, too.
Yeah, because they had to step in and do that.
Yeah. But I think... Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I talked about how I wavered back and forth on this, and I think for me, it's what I described at the meeting was simple being in compliance versus actually building the buildings.
Yeah.
I think for my point of view, I've had to separate both. I know that's a tough task to do, to be able to say, yeah, you can build them, but you can't actually build them.
Yeah.
And
to trust that process will stay important.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I tried to inquire a little bit during the meeting from the planning board. My understanding is we're responsible for the zoning and making us compliant or not compliant, whichever way the town council votes.
Yeah.
But then somebody has to hold the town accountable for allowing the building to happen.
Yeah.
And a lot, residents have called for building moratoriums for us and the town council. But what I was trying to understand is the planning board, from, again, all the research that I've done and conversations I've had, has the ability to stop a new build if it does pertain to town services or water.
Yeah.
And so why isn't more being put on that instead of stopping building as a whole?
Are they advisory, or didn't they have more power before?
They do still, yes.
They still have power?
And that was part of the reason why, the town attorney stopped my question, was because he didn't want the town council to influence any decisions by the planning board, right?
Yeah.
Because they are, I don't know the correct term, there's 3 boards in town who have the ability to
Administrate?
administrate,
Yeah.
right?
Administral?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
We should know the term. And they were one of them. So they make decisions, and it's completely separate from our entity, and rightfully so. But I don't know.
Bringing up that we're to stop the building, I have spoken to Council Allenberg about it. I had kind of written up one before when Blythe was here, and we kind of had, it was like an emergency, but they didn't really want to do that. I don't think it's illegal. I was thinking about writing one up to just put it, all new builds, on hold for like January and February. And in that order, say that we have to have a public meeting, because the town council is supposed to have 2 open public, and we never do that.
We say this every time. You and I had this.
Yeah. So I want to put one of those on there and then force us to discuss it, because I feel like a year and a half I've heard, well, maybe we'll get water from Taunton or Brockton or this and that. And I've even read the 5-year water plan. And I don't understand why we can't build a treatment plant there, because we're going to pay for water,
right,
and we're going to be, someone's going to have that over our head or pay for that. And the thing I think that holds that, and it's just what they call a conspiracy theorist, I'm not sure, because I kind of question why we would want water from there, because I know towns can only flow so much water. You're limited. But if you get it from, like, say, Taunton, that doesn't count as outflow. So we can bring in a lot more and therefore build a lot more. And that concerns me. So I think we should be, in 8 of our wells, I don't know if you ever looked up the permit. So I started looking up the water permit, because wondering why we always have a drought. 8 of our wells come from the same basin that gets dehydrated, low water, from September to May. So why do we all have our wells from one spot? We need to spread out.
Yeah.
And it was interesting to find out that the Waterford can actually have their own water plant. I mean, why not, hook up with them so we can do the Vernon well, encourage, like partnership with them, and we could do that.
Yeah,
but I think bringing up the water, I was hoping we could talk more about that.
Yeah, I would prefer to keep it in town. I no question about it. And I think allowing another town to control our rates is the most concerning for me too.
Yeah.
It seems like a quick fix, and I think I've said this before in the past, all these when we start sharing resources, and we talked about this with the veterans agent, I think a few years ago.
Yeah.
When Town Manager Dutton was here about sharing a veterans agent with Raynham. It always seems like a great cost-saving benefit up front that never works out long-term.
Because someone else has control.
Sure. Our schools are a good example of that.
Yeah.
The veterans agent could have been a good example of that.
Yeah.
Our tree warden, I know, was an issue for a while. And so, I think the regionalization is a good term that we hear a lot to cost save up front, but long-term, I think we're always digging ourselves out. Yeah.
So do you think we could do an order like that to put new no more new permits for new building. For people probably don't build a lot in January, February.
Yeah. So why? Why would we do that though? How
Because
would that benefit our current situation?
We have to. It will force us to do it to look at the water. I need straight answers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I like Azu. His. Then we got the water thing from that letter he wrote that's saying that we didn't have enough water. But when when I talked about the water tanks, I know how old they are. I was just asking because I wanted the town council, the residents to know.
Sure.
One's 1928 and one 1978. So that engineer partners that we have that did our 5-year, they talked about, how long can you patch those up? You know what I mean? So we're not addressing it. Don't you feel like we're just talking about the same thing every time we talk about the water?
I do, yes. I do feel like, at least since our new town manager's here, he's been able to communicate a little bit better than maybe some of the previous administrations, that we do have a plan, a long-term plan, but we're not fixing the immediate. That's what you're getting
Yeah,
at?
well, I look at the long-term plan. The long-term plan doesn't talk about getting water from Taunton.
Right.
And how do they not even have an idea of how much it would cost us if they've been talking about this for a year and a half that I've been on the council? And I keep asking, well, how much it costs? We don't know. Well, why would you even be having conversations if you don't know?
Yeah.
Is it by the gallons? What is it?
Yeah.
I just don't get it.
Maybe just feasibility, if it's possible to even hook up or not, is the first conversation. I don't know.
I think one of the things they're looking at, I think there's the lease is still in another town's name.
Right.
And it doesn't expire for a while. But
Or
what
lease? What are you referring to?
I think the water that they want us to take is being someone else has the lease for that water supply, but is not using it.
And Brockton.
Brockton or Taunton.
Yeah, I know Brockton has it.
Yeah.
Brockton's the case. Yeah, their lease is up shortly.
Yeah.
And it's the company that runs the plant there. my
Okay, so
understanding,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah. But wouldn't you know how much it would cost a little bit if they're having conversations with us? So I feel like I ask the same questions and I get the same answers. With Jonas, he was saying that we can't do anymore. Now we're saying that we can. Everyone's getting brown water. I'm on Plymouth Street, so, you go to brush your teeth and you have a white cup and it's like, yeah, that's brown. You know what I mean? So, how else can we force to sit down and actually come up with a plan?
Yeah.
Are we following the 5-year plan? What are we doing?
Yeah. I'm on board with that. I think we do need some short-term fixes in the immediate.
Yeah. I know they say the well is going to be expensive, but if you do, debt inclusion, so it's like, how many dollars on a taxpayer?
Yeah.
It's not that bad.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It would have to come from the Water Enterprise Fund, however. So I don't know how borrowing for that works. I know we're doing that for the sewage plant, but...
Yeah. I think they can take out a loan.
Yeah, and it'd be on the users then. It'd be through the enterprise.
Yeah. But I don't know. I just feel like we need to force something because I can feel the frustration, and I'm frustrated.
Yeah, sure.
Like, you wanted to talk about it, and we can't. So I don't know if a public hearing or force it just to, get it riled up and like, okay, we have to sit down and we have to talk about what are we doing.
Right.
Because I don't even know what we're doing.
Yeah.
Do you think?
I agree. A public hearing would be helpful. Maybe that's one of our 2 town meetings.
Yeah. Have a public hearing because I don't know. And I know with the MBTA, they keep telling us that the Massachusetts has a housing crisis, but I like going west sometimes. So if you go out to from here to the Berkshires, there's all open land. Massachusetts doesn't have a housing crisis. It's just that people want to live outside the outskirts of Boston and near the ocean. But I don't think it's our responsibility to make this town a city just because people want to live here.
Yeah, I think anytime the state puts an unfunded mandate on a town or a city, it's a problem.
Yeah.
That's the case here.
Yeah.
For sure.
I guess we could push back. It is election year. That's the best time to do it, right?
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's been interesting because I know I've heard a lot of towns initially that were pushing back on it. Maybe the lawsuits are still out there for some of the towns. But I don't understand what benefit we're getting from it, or what towns who have passed it, have they gotten the benefits of it? I've asked, the last couple of meetings, where are the grants that we're supposed to get or not get? And show it to me. Town manager just spoke that we just got rejected for a grant recently. I think it was a $2 million grant. And that was because we were only conditionally compliant on our MBTA legislation. So to my knowledge, that's the first time we have actively been rejected for
Yeah.
that reason.
But what was it for?
I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah, because I've been like when someone asked the different grants. I mean, Mr. Rulli brought up like 3 different grants that he's gotten.
Yes.
But that's I mean, I don't know how much more surveys, studies we can get on the Rotary, the Vision to Reality, the Path Road to Progress. I mean, there's got to be like 7 of them.
Sure.
So, I mean, when do we stop? Because we haven't implemented any of them.
The MBTA consultant that we've been paying is
Yeah.
entirely grant paid as well too.
Yeah.
And so they've been paid close to $78,000.
Wow.
For
Yeah,
what
because
they
he was
work
listing
is.
off like 255,000. This.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I don't know. Not sure what to do with that. But we have to do something.
Yeah, and again, I think I tried to be clear at the meeting from my stance. I think to be compliant is one thing, but then to ensure that we're not going to overbuild because of that is another.
Yeah. Well, we have no
So-
control over House Street, right?
No control over Hill Street. Yeah.
So I guess that's when we should put no more building.
Yeah. No more state building.
And yeah. We're shutting it down, no more bills, and, she can bring us to court. But, hey,
Yeah.
we don't have the water. Do you want to pay for the water? Do it.
Yeah.
But it's the time to kind of push back, the only time that we have really any leverage against the government where she's up for election. So that's the time that you do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know. If it was brought up through the Baker administration and then she continued it, is there an end in sight? I believe one of the candidates for governor was part of the original legislation as well,
were.
too. Both of them were.
Yeah, both of them worked for Baker.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 of them did.
So is there an end in sight? No matter which way the vote goes?
There's a third one.
Yeah.
So he's a veteran for a lot of years. He was a combat leader.
And this is who? Do you know?
Mike Manu.
Okay.
He's got a French name. He was the CEO of, I think it's Aeromed. They made the smallest heart pumps.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, they sold that, I think, for $16 billion. So he's quite, knowledgeable. He's got kids, family. I haven't looked at all his policies, but
Yeah.
it seems like, I don't know. He's a good businessman, and I'd rather have a businessman at this point than a politician,
Yeah.
only because we need help. And I mean, look at MMA showed that the governor's hoarding our money. States are getting 39%, we're getting 26%, and you don't think that's the big difference. But when you're talking about millions,
It's huge.
yeah.
It is huge for us. And then the state not only hoards the money, but then they put caps on what we can do as a city and town.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah. I was looking at her stabilization fund is $8.1 billion. So why don't you just, fill the SNAP things and feed people? I mean, it's easy.
right.
I mean, it'd be nice to have $8.1 billion in our stabilization fund.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I agree.
She's not sharing well, that's for sure.
Yeah, but I think it's so. My understanding of that, and I did a little bit of research on that. My understanding is in the 90s and the early 2000s, the state was giving back more. And then when COVID hit, that was a big change for the state, and the state kept a lot of the money and changed local aid for the worse, and they never put the money back.
Yeah.
And so the late 2000s, through the recession, through COVID, the state experienced those, I guess, external factors, if you want to call them. And they took that money back from the cities and towns that they were giving out, and they never gave it back. And so that's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I looked a little bit into the lottery fund and what that had done. When it was originally created, that was going back to the cities and towns, right?
Yep.
And inflation has far outpaced that. And so the money that we're getting back from the lottery now isn't growing at the same rate it was. And inflation is going through the roof. And so it's not keeping up with even that coming back to us. And so, yeah.
No, because, I mean, even the millionaire's tax is supposed to go to education, and she used it for the subway.
Yeah.
So we're not getting anything.
Yeah,
back
2/3
from
of it is going to the MBTA, and 1/3 of it's going to our public education
Yeah.
right now.
So that's not good.
Yep.
So then we talked about the budget for the fire department, because I'm uncomfortable leaving them 5 short. And I'm uncomfortable with that the ambulance receipt reserve. So what the town manager said that we use 33% of it for the for their budget, and he said part of a sentence. He said, we didn't make as much as last year. Well, I looked at the budget last year. It was unusual. We actually made 4% more. There was more calls. So you can't really say, well, we're making less, because what we're making this year has been prior years. It was just last year there was 4% more calls. So the fire department made $84,000 more. So to me, that reserve shouldn't go to capital. That should stay with the fire department. And then if they can help the police because, I mean, they're the ones that respond to the calls.
It's going into the general fund, you mean?
Well, no, he said 33% he was using for to pay for the fire department budget, and the rest they're using for capital. So what fund, I don't know what he put it in, but he was using it for capital.
I'm not sure if that was the correct terminology from my understanding of the budget.
What did you think he said when I talked about the ambulance reserved one?
I believe it goes back into the general fund for the
Okay,
town
even
budget.
if it's the general fund, it should stay with going towards, because, I mean, I looked at, so in 2025, I think it was 2025, I got the book, the balance was $2,431,770. So if he took 33% off of that, actually the balance was $3 million. Sorry, $3,629,506. So 33% of that would be, $1,197,000. But the balance would leave a little over $2 million. That could cover the fire and the police right there.
How would we make that back up on the general fund?
Well, we shouldn't have that in the general fund to begin with.
Right, but if we were to move it now, what does that do to our main budget?
I don't know. I'd like to see.
I don't disagree with you, but if we were to move it, how do we make up that money and the difference?
Yeah.
Because we're not solving the problem that we're not taking in enough revenue. We're just moving money in a sense with that.
But I think it would be solving the problem for our first responders. If the ambulance receipt reserve was for, you pay so much money for the fireman budget, and plus it just leaves there. So if they need, staffing, they need equipment. Because to me, the one thing that we should never cut back on is the firefighters and the police.
Public safety.
Yeah. So I don't know. We could come up. I know everyone doesn't want to use the stabilization fund or this or that, but we did for the school. You know what I mean? We should just say, vote that we just keep this for the fire department, and we're going to have to deal with it. And I think the problem with the revenue is, I think the economic development department needs to stop looking at like cul-de-sacs or apartments and bring in some corporations. What do we have?
But the economic development isn't doing that with the cul-de-sacs. Developers buying it up and building, right?
Well, they do they're bringing in the developers for like the apartments and stuff, right? What they're doing. But I think...
I don't know that they actively do that. I'm not saying you're right or wrong.
Oh,
I
thought
know.
that's what they were thinking, is to bring to...
I know they work with local owners.
Economic.
I know they work with local owners, but I don't know that they attract business in that sense, that they're talking to people and actively...
So
I'm not sure.
How can we help get in corporations in here?
In what sense? What kind of corporations?
Well, if you look at the Leads Act that Governor Baker put out, Governor Haley put out, because it's the new thing instead of the TIF. So they did something different, and now instead of pushing for housing, because she's got a lot of housing going with the MBTA, and she's taking state one. Now she's focusing on businesses, because businesses are leaving Massachusetts. They have a huge, because I looked at a BSU study and a Boston College study, and a lot of businesses are leaving. So our college kids that are learning MIT, AI, and all that, they're getting out because they can't afford Massachusetts. So we're losing businesses and college kids. So she's looking into like technical stuff that doesn't go away. It's not like retail that comes and goes. But she had a list of different businesses that she wants the towns to encourage to try to get here.
Yeah, well, that's another example of us getting our money back in a grant form defined by the state and how to do so, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't necessarily agree with that.
Yeah.
What could we do to attract more businesses here, I think was the original question.
Yeah, who does that? Because we have BSU, so can you imagine if we had, say, like we were supposed to have an AI range at Hall Street. But so say we had an AI business that, I don't know, computer chips or whatever, I can't remember the list, technology, and we have a college here. So you can go to college and you can work there. Yeah. And why wouldn't a business want here? Because they can pull the best from our college. They can have internships, work programs. You got a college right in town, that why wouldn't a business want it in here? And they have no competition. Yeah. Because we have very little.
I'm not sure businesses think in a local sense like that. I don't think to them, I don't think there is any benefit to being close to Bridgewater State from a business aspect.
No,
I mean,
getting the top college kids to go,
yeah, but there are colleges all over the state, right? And
Right.
our state is a short drive from one place to the other. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't factually know that it's not beneficial, but to me, where I didn't stay near where I went to college. I went to a state school in Massachusetts, but I still stayed in Massachusetts. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. When I worked at an aerospace manufacturing, and we had, from Northeastern, the kids would come, engineers, stuff like that, and they would do an internship or even a work program where we'd pay them during
Right.
the summer. So, I mean, that's how you get them in there. You know what I mean? They're working in there. They're working with the other engineers. They see what your company is.
Yeah.
Do they all stay? No, but some did. They were interested because they know they didn't have to go far. They had already the means to it. And they might have looked at for other jobs, but they kind of knew that they had above of anyone else that was coming in for that job.
Yeah. I would say, my experiences working in higher ed, Boston College did a great job of providing internships to their students, and we had a lot of business students, and so they worked at Fidelity and places in the city there.
And do they place them in there afterwards, hire them afterwards? Do you know?
I think in a lot of cases they do, yes. A lot of the students that came out of Boston College stayed in, well-known financial institutions,
Yeah,
for sure. But a lot of them traveled too, I would say, after college.
yeah.
I think there was a sense of like, I want to go explore something else, and they'd go to New York or wherever it was, but they'd work at financial institutions. So if you get a job at Fidelity, I mean, you have offices all over the country you can explore and go to.
That's true. I just think it would make us more revenue because, I mean, I know apartments and cul-de-sacs, we get the tax revenue, but on the other hand, we have to deduct water, the police coming there and all that. But with businesses, it wouldn't be the same because it's not going to fill up our schools. It's not going to like fights in apartments or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It would give us more revenue.
Right. And I think we had talked about this a little bit last time I was here, but you got to assume that the businesses have a model, right, to determine where their next store is going to be or where they're going to go
Yeah.
next. And what are we missing
I know.
as part of that model?
And who's doing it?
Yeah.
Who's in charge of that?
Yeah, I'm sure every corporation does, right?
Yeah.
I don't think, a Walmart's opening up down the street without some scientific research behind why they're opening up in the specific location they're going to. I don't know.
I know. I mean, we're near the highway.
Yeah.
Because I look at other places, you know what I mean? They're near highways. They're not necessarily out. I mean, like the aerospace that I worked at was near a highway, but it was in it was Sharon Walpole line. So, I mean, it wasn't like, it was near a train station or anything like that. So I've been thinking about that. And do people, if I was a business owner, would I do a survey to see that, where I could get employees or water? I don't know.
Yeah. One thing would be good to understand statewide is how many folks are physically going to a work environment or staying at home now too.
Yeah.
What does that look like post-COVID? Because I'll tell you, driving into the city, it looks like everybody's still working full-time in the city, right? Traffic's as bad as it's ever been. But then I hear so many folks who have the ability to work hybrid, half the week at home or full-time at home.
Yeah.
So where are those people? And has that changed or impacted our revenue at all either? It'd be interesting to know how many folks in Bridgewater travel to work or stay in town.
Yeah, because I know when restaurants were losing a lot of money because people weren't going to work.
Right.
And that was their bulk. But they seem to be, I didn't hear any about going underwater in Boston or anything like that.
Right.
I guess people want to go back to work. I mean, some jobs you have to.
Yeah.
So if we had a manufacturing, they have to go to work. And the good thing is, like, say if you had a manufacturing making chips or whatever, then you're going to have other business pop up. Because, like, when I learned a lot working in the factory. Because not only are you making a project, because we made things for the airplanes, for NASA and all that, but we couldn't make everything. So then there was different, like, machine shops or different companies that built around this aerospace because they had to make those parts for us.
Where's that happening now?
It's they've grown. They've gone up to like 2,000.
And they're still making the parts here?
They're still making all the parts here. Yeah. For the
Probably one of the few.
every time a bone goes down, we'd be like, oh, because we did Boeing engines, everything for the NASA. It was interesting because an astronaut came in and told us all that I would never be an astronaut with what they have to go through.
Yeah.
Just to get changed or it's just unbelievable that people can that.
The
yeah.
training I heard has got to be
Yeah.
unreal.
So they expanded. Then they made a clean room. So then they were making pumps and hearts and stuff. But I mean, they've just kept building. I was there like for 14 years. It was amazing. And then you got good insurance, and it was a good place to work to raise my kids. Yeah. So I look at that thinking, so why can't we get something like that here?
Yeah. Well, we have that big warehouse right off Broad Street now,
Yeah.
and it's empty.
Well, I looked into that. I'm thinking, why is that? So I guess it was like, a thing that you build a big thing and they will come.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like the field. So you could have storage, you could have offices without the overhead, but it doesn't seem to really work well.
Well, I think the kicker is they also built one in East Bridgewater,
Yeah.
right? Just
Yeah.
down on 18, and they built one in West Bridgewater just off 24.
Yeah.
Same size, same looking building.
Yeah.
We're surrounded by them.
I know.
Yeah, I think it was New Jersey or somebody. I recently read an article was talking about the warehouse takeover that's happening right now.
Yeah.
These companies coming in, building huge warehouses.
Yeah, because say if you have you sell tractors, so
Yeah.
you could have tractors in the office upstairs. So it's not, you don't pay for the all overhead. So there's a bunch of them there, and you could use it. But I don't think people find that attractive.
No, but I wonder if there was a shift with manufacturing and folks, hoping or wishing, or maybe it is coming back to the U.S.
Yeah.
And that's why those companies jumped on it and started building these.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I was looking into them. That's what some of it that I learned, but I don't know.
The best part for us is it's an empty building and they're still paying taxes. So.
Yeah, that's true.
That's best case scenario.
We can have a Christmas party there, a big one. All right, so from there we go on to the CPC, the fields.
Yes.
Yeah,
Incredible.
it is.
There's nothing bad to say about that.
No, I'm so happy for that. I really am.
I'm really happy that a gentleman came and spoke and talked about the project and how it's been a success from the start, working with CPC and
Yeah.
the firms to get the designs.
CPC has done a lot. We have a lot of trails and a lot of stuff for that. And my finance mind looks at, ooh, look at all the money that they get.
Mm-hmm.
So my mind goes, well, what if we do a vote for the residents and say, okay, you do a surcharge of 2% on your taxes.
Yep.
What if one just goes to CPC and one goes to a designated, water or roads? We need roads.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how that would go.
Yeah.
Because, we've done so much in town that do we really need that amount? Could we split it?
Yeah.
So they're still getting some money. I know there might be pushback, but I can't help think this way.
I would love to. We haven't heard from the CPC in a while, and I follow their meetings online.
Yeah, I do too.
But I know we mentioned them, and I think Dr. Hun came up at the end of the meeting and offered that.
Yeah, I think they're just waiting for the chair, Gina. She's
Musician,
on a bowling league, so on Tuesdays. So I think we're just waiting for her, so she can, she's the chair.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then she'll come. Yeah.
Because yes, I'd love to see how much money they have, exactly. State.
I have that. If you watch the last CPC, they had that.
Yeah.
Or the one before.
Because they've recently paid for some of this field design, and the church, I know, is coming up with the windows. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually have it on my phone right now.
Do you?
Yeah. So I couldn't see clearly on Zoom, so I asked Laurie, and she sent them to me, and I was going to send it to you before our finance.
I haven't asked for it yet for this budget cycle, so I haven't seen it recently.
Well, she sent it to CBC, all the things that they were putting the money towards. Then she had another one where, because, I guess they're paying for the town, they pay the loan for the town hall when they got fixed, and something else. And then the actual that they think they're going to have this year's like $4.1 million or something.
Right.
So I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
I was going to before the next, budget meeting, and I kind of forgot.
Yeah.
So when I was looking at it, right away I go, ooh, what if we just took if the taxpayers would allow us instead of, because it has to be voted on taxpayers.
Right.
So, and I know CPC might get a little like, we don't want to lose our money, but if we split it and put it in a designated thing every year, that tax money would go in for roads.
Yeah.
Continuously.
We wouldn't be able to, though, right?
Yeah, because we could vote on it. Just like we voted that.
You would vote to reduce the CPC percentage.
Yeah, and then vote that 1% surtax will go to roads.
I think that would be a conflict with Proposition 2.5 if it's not specifically designed for CPC.
Yeah, I think we could write an order and fix that up.
Now, I think one thing we had thrown around when we were talking about the override last year was potentially looking at CPC as an offset to that. So if we were to ask for an override, could we lower the CPC percentage, or
You
see
can,
that
but
program goes down altogether?
Because I looked into this, the voters voted that yes, 2.5% of their taxes will go to CBC.
Yep.
So you can't take that away or change it unless you put it on the ballot.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
But we talked about offsetting the two, so having them both appear.
Yeah.
Could that help folks? I don't know. But I think it's a good question to think about in this budget time with the constraints that we're under. Is that still a viable option for the town?
Yeah.
I know a lot of people aren't going to like that response.
I know, but I mean, well, I look
Some
and think.
people think strongly about it, but
Well, they've done a lot. I mean, I don't know how many more trails we can get. And now we're fixing all our fields. So, I mean, they've done a real lot.
they have.
And really, I mean, if you look at the affordable housing, the Hemlock and Heritage, which I keep talking about, we fixed their houses, but if we had that affordable trust fund that has $14,000 in it,
Yes.
that would help. And that brings up the fact that you said one of the residents applied for the sewer.
More than one.
Yeah. So why is that closed? That committee closed? They have a lot of power.
Yes.
Did
I
you
think
ever?
that's why it's closed.
Well, how can we? I know it's not up to us, but maybe we got to do something.
I wouldn't say it's not up to us because I think it is up to us. And
Well,
I think
that
it's got to be a partnership with the town
Manager, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's what I mean. If the town manager, he's control of the committee, so if he says no, then maybe we can make a subcommittee or form something under us that they report to us.
Yeah.
And that way we could keep an update.
Well, I know we did legislation for that to be able to create ad hoc committees, but
Yeah,
that's a charter change process.
yeah.
But if the committee exists, then we should be filling it. Whether it's the town manager's role or not, he should be filling it.
Yeah, you can't close
That's
that.
my
I don't
view.
think you should close that.
Right.
Just like the affordable housing. I mean, they try to change the Affordable Housing Trust to Affordable Housing Committee. You can't do that because then you can't take the money out. So, and when someone does something, the little light goes off and go, why is that?
Yeah.
Because you know how we have the density that if you want more housings, then you have to do something like solar panels. Yeah. It used to be on putting so much money in the affordable housing.
Yes.
And that's how we got
You
the money.
talked about this. I remember.
Yeah, I talk about this all the time, and I get to a point and it's a dead end, and then I have to continue. It's like the water. Right. I feel like I'm on a merry-go-round with half the crap that I talk about.
You know what's funny is I think philosophy-wise, all 9 of us do that to some extent. Right?
Yeah.
Like all 9 of us, 2 of us here, at least we know, we go out and we do our research and we do our homework and then we bring it back to the council. Then we have to educate the council on what we're doing and try to get them to buy in so we can move something forward.
Yeah.
And we have to educate the residents in that process. But we're all going down our own path, looking at our own thing because we have to, because of the open meeting law. But then when we come back together, we're all trying to convince each other that what we're doing is important enough.
Yeah.
Right? And if all 9 of us sat down and tried to accomplish something together, we could change things.
I think that's why it's important that we have, if it's not like we had an executive meeting last time.
Yeah.
So maybe we should have executive meetings once a month and say, okay, what are we working on? How can we help you go forward and start making laws?
We should do that in discussions, right?
Yeah, that's fine
You
with
and I
me.
talked about this because I think for a long time we didn't have discussions.
No.
Or there was a period when we didn't have any discussions. So I'm glad to see that more and more things are coming on there and that we're inviting committees and we're continuing to follow up on that because that's where it's going to change. That's when we're going to actually come together and make a difference.
Yeah.
So I know Sean and I had gone back and forth about the MBTA legislation and, he said he was going to vote for it, although he hated it with the state. And I said the same thing, I'll vote for it so we don't lose money, but I absolutely hate it.
Yeah.
I think it's ruining our town and our state. But like being able to have those open conversations, I think is really helpful.
It is because, we have to make the best decisions and we want to work with each other. And I want to hear other people's opinions. Why aren't you voting yes? Or why are you voting no?
Right.
Because it helps me see a different side that I might not see. Right. I listen to the residents, but I also got to be, what's best for the town.
Yes.
Like I was the same way with the MBTA. Very not tough. But to understand that it's only a small area that can have the 30 units.
Yeah.
And then I actually met with Mr. Ruley. Well, because sometimes Shane explains things easy. Shane would just, this is it, and that's
great
how
on the
I
meetings.
think.
I've seen him on the.
Yeah. Bob really kind of goes because he's in depth in this.
Yeah.
So I met with him, and he was like, well, it says 30 acres, but then has to have so much parking. The garbage has to be there, the snow removal. And watching the planning board, I thought, oh, okay, that's what they mean.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm definitely for that. We should have more discussions. I've done a couple, so now it's your turn.
Yeah.
So we talked about the water, right? Talking about the water putting on the hole. And then going for hiring a new counselor. when the new council
School
comes
committee.
out? Was it school committee? Well, you guys wrote
Oh,
about.
I'm sorry. Yes. We
It's-
have an open seat for the school committee, which we'll be filling together
Yeah.
shortly.
Yeah.
And then you're referring to the legislation that we were talking about.
Yeah, because it's what about.
The process to fill a vacant councilor seat.
Yeah,
Yes.
I thought that you guys did a really good job. That must
Yeah.
have taken a while.
See, I think that was a great example. Sean and I went back and forth a few times and talked through different scenarios and different ways of voting.
Yeah.
And we both agreed in the end that we wanted every candidate to have a chance to be heard and every candidate to be voted on and the public to be able to be in the middle of that process and give us feedback.
I think that was huge because
Yeah.
I think the public felt not involved.
Right. Right.
So that was really good.
And Sean and I, I wouldn't say disagree, but have philosophies on how voting should take place. And that was the only difference we had when we had to work it out and make it happen. So, yeah, I think ultimately it's the best case scenario for us. And hopefully if we have to use it in the future, it'll be a lot better than the last process we had to go through.
I think I'm glad you guys didn't agree and you came up with a whole different one of the voting process.
Yes.
Because it made sense. Each council would pick one. That
Yeah.
was, yeah. I would have never thought of that.
Yeah.
I thought you guys did a really good job. What happened to the goals for the town manager? Is that completely passed?
Yes. That's good to go.
I know, good to go. Are we going to get a list? Can we get a copy?
Yes.
So do you have a thing like, okay, he's supposed to be doing this, this, and that?
Yes, it's broken out into different areas, so different topic areas. Water and sewer is on there, communications on there. I think there's 5 different sort of headers for the goals. Actually, that process for the review on a normal year would be ramping up right around now too.
Yeah.
And after the holidays, we would actually start filling out. We're going to go
So
through
we
the
have
process of
a council review committee. They're the ones that review him.
Yes, we do. It starts with the committee, and then it goes to the entire town council, and we all fill out our individual reviews, and then the committee takes that and puts it together and produces one final review for the town manager.
Okay, that's why I
Everything's
think
public
it
through
would
that
be.
process.
Yeah, well, I was asking for the list because I think because I know at some point I'm going to have to put. So I thought I could keep track of it
Yes. Yeah.
because I don't remember them all. I should, I guess.
Yeah, it was at the end of September. The end of September meeting had the final
Yeah.
document in it, but
I thought it did, and I thought, okay, I need a copy.
Yeah.
To see print it out. I'm going to ask a question, and because it's residents. I mean, so it's a neutral thing, and I just figured I'd pop it off you rather than bring it to the council.
yeah.
So last year when we did the contracts and all that, we had the list of people who have to have a review before they go a step up.
Yes.
So our council clerk was on there, but no one gave her a review because she's in the neutral land.
Yeah, she's on an island.
Yeah. So residents asked me, well, who does she work for? Is it yours? Why isn't she getting a review? They're confused. And I thought, I don't know. I couldn't answer one of the questions because Blythe kind of said, well, we both share her, but Blythe didn't give her the evaluation. So I couldn't answer the council, and I don't want to start a big rumble, but they've been asking me, and I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's tough. It did say in there that she does get a review. I haven't seen it, if the document you're referring to.
Well, when we went through all the, because her raise was there.
Yeah.
So I had asked Blythe, do you give a evaluation? Because I asked her, how do they go? They automatically go up to the steps? Because I was asking a question. And she says, I said, she goes, well, we give them evaluate them. And steps. So I said, so they don't automatically go up. So if someone's not doing a great job, and you can hold that back because a cost of living, you can't. So if someone's goofing off and not doing working as hard, at least they had something.
We, as a town council, set her salary every year.
No, but I'm talking about she looks at her employees.
Yeah.
So we had the list of employers, and Blythe evaluates the department heads, all
Right.
her employees. So I was asking about how does all her employees automatically get a step up? Because
Right.
we're talking about they automatically get, the cost of living. And she said, well, we evaluate, like we're going to evaluate the town manager. She says, well, we do evaluation, and, and then we let them get a step up.
Right.
So someone had, and I said, okay. But one of the residents had asked me and said, well, Debbie's on that, the town
Oh, you mean the town council clerk?
clerk, yeah.
Yes. I thought you meant town clerk in general.
Oh.
Yeah, Miss
Oh,
Larson,
Tina.
I thought you were referring to.
No.
I'm sorry.
So I said, I asked next time, well, Blythe, did you, and she said no.
Yeah.
She didn't give. She says she's like in between two. So residents asking me, well, who does she work for? should evaluate her job.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I have no clue.
We could do
honestly. Yeah.
I think I don't know if it has to be legislation, but I know we could do that.
Yeah, because, I mean, that way we understand more. Because, I mean, I'd want to give her a good valuation because if you work with her and stuff like that.
Yes.
So, yeah. But they questioned me a lot about that.
I think that role is also part of a union. I think it's a unionized role.
Yeah.
And so I don't know in terms of the cost of living, it's tied to that union contract.
See, that's why I was getting confused because is she employee of the town manager, but she's listed as a clerk.
Yeah.
And I said, that's a good question. I was going to bring it up, but I figured I'd bring it up and see if you know any. You'd been on the council a little longer, if it's ever been brought up before.
It has not been brought up before.
Yeah. I think
and
we
have not evaluated the town council clerk since I've been on.
Yeah. So I guess we share her. I guess the residents would like clarification, and I kind of feel like stupid. I'm like, I don't know. You know what I mean? I just never thought about it.
Yeah.
Just.
You should ask at the town manager report. If not,
yeah.
I only say that because I know that's a public setting,
true.
right?
Yeah, that's true.
Ask to respond.
Yeah, that's true.
One thing I asked for, and this is I don't know if we're up against time, but this is another random one that I'll throw back at you.
Okay.
Send us back to you. I had asked the town manager for our communications policy, specifically social media policy. And this came up when, over the course of the summer, there was an event and the library had signed on to be a sponsor of the event. So I asked the town manager, how did the individual...
That was a good catch.
Yeah. How do individual departments sign on to work with different things within town, out of town? There has to be a process for that, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, the chief of police could partner with anybody.
Yeah.
Any of those town employees can, or any of the departments can. And so that was really important to me. I haven't gotten a clear answer yet, but hopefully in the next meeting I'll have something. But then social media policy, I think, is very important too, right?
Yeah.
How do you determine what can be posted and how are you engaging with folks?
Yeah.
I think having a policy or procedure or some kind of documentation behind that is important too.
The only thing I found was anything worth my while at the last town council training is that attorney that talked about our liability.
Don't write anything online.
Yeah.
Right?
Don't engage on Facebook at all.
Yeah.
Because you can be liable for something that you said.
Right.
So I take that to heart, and people might think, oh, we never hear from.
And it could be a town meeting and an open meeting violation too if multiple of us are writing on it or commenting on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, the town attorney would, protect us, but still the town gets sued.
Right.
So I don't go on Facebook. I don't respond to it. I'm tempted.
I am too.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah. I look at it and go, don't do it. Don't do it.
We could share with the citizens. We're watching.
Yeah. But in the podcast,
right,
pretty much we can say whatever we want, right?
Yeah, in this setting,
much, yeah.
sure.
Yeah. And that's what's nice about the podcast. So you want him to teach us more about the communication, or you want him to communicate better?
I want him to have a structure for communication in town to
Yeah.
understand how that works. And this came up again during the override, and some people were in charge of putting signs out downtown. We didn't know who it was. Sometimes it was Blythe. Sometimes it was our town council clerk. Sometimes it was the chief of fire. So it was just very unorganized.
Yeah.
And I don't want an unorganized message coming from our town because that's going to get people in a lot of trouble. And I don't want social medias or sponsorships to get us in trouble either. So I feel strongly about that.
The thing is, we have a Facebook page, which I think if we got it more active, and I think we should send some of the information to the senior center because they have a newsletter that comes out once a month.
Yeah.
And if you ever gone in Foxborough, they have a Rotary like we do. So they have a sign that's, like our sign, but it's bigger on both sides.
Yep.
So as you go around, you get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he can come on the podcast.
Yeah.
Anytime,
I told him we need to improve the communication.
Absolutely.
Our communication's it's not great coming out. I mean, as great it is for us, nobody's watching a 3-hour town council meeting at their leisure very often.
Yeah.
Right? Unless it's a hot topic or something that specifically impacts them. So a lot of messages are being missed.
Yeah.
So our comments at the end at 10:30 at night are hard to make at that point too.
Yeah, you're like
still hanging on.
Yeah.
Right. Who's still hanging on at that point? But it'd be nice to get some quick, clean communications about our water situation. A nice timeline of what's happening and how we're addressing it. Just get to the point and post it. We're missing a lot of that.
I think even at the town council meeting, we're missing that. Because I walk out feeling frustrated that I don't even have enough knowledge of what's going on, the timeline or anything. And so how can I even speak to the residents about it? I don't know. I did go to BSU and ask them if we could be part of their newspaper because, that way the students would learn about, the politics and all that. But, it was up to the department, and the department, I guess, just didn't want to do it. So I don't know if we could start like a newsletter ourselves,
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
connect with the BH, the high school kids.
The town always engages an external partner for communications. And
Yeah.
I feel strongly we should have somebody in-house doing that.
Yeah.
It's a full-time job.
That is.
It's a full-time job if we're going to do it effectively.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great things happening in this town, and it always gets overshadowed by the few bad things, right?
Yeah.
And that's
But
unfortunate.
if the news was out there and people heard, I don't think it would be as bad.
No,
Like,
I don't either.
Facebook would be as bad as
Right.
it is.
Right.
We have to figure out a way.
Yeah.
I was looking into, like, instead of having a newspaper, in Connecticut, I worked in this little town, and we had like a 4 or 5 page, like, up like that, and it was all the news.
Mm.
So I went to the church with the fire department and police. They went over there for a memorial thing,
Yes. Yep.
and I got one. I thought, why can't we do one like that? And I actually contacted the guy, and he told me where they got it, and I was like, so what if we all, the chairs of every committee just wrote something up, that each department wrote something up, and at once, every 2 weeks we just filled it, and, people could buy it for $1.
Yeah, but see, your style of communication would be different from mine. I'd never pick that thing up. I'd never read it.
Well, we could put it online too.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm,
Yeah.
in the 5 seconds I have,
Well,
I
we
wanna
can do
see
both.
something that just says Flag Street's been paved.
Yeah.
That's all I want to know.
Well, we could keep it simple, like the department, DPW departments working on this and doing that.
Right. We have the town manager report, which also has a lot of good information in it, but sometimes that can be 7 or 8 pages too.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to keep it simple.
Right.
Yeah. Somebody would have to edit it.
Yeah.
It's just like when it drives me crazy that we just don't have someone. I would love to see our assistant town manager have project managing skills. And I know I say this all the time, but I have to go by that Chase Bank all the time. So, as a project manager, before you start, you look at to see how this is going to impact, the traffic in the businesses.
Yeah.
So actually, enough residents complained that the town manager had to come down and go, look, no one can get to the coffee place, nobody can cross the street.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Wouldn't that fall under our town planner? I should be doing that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So it's just another thing that, I'm like, assistant town manager with project managing skills, I don't, they should be different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they have both things. I don't know. Maybe we should just run town.
Yeah. I don't know. That's a big job. I have
I
enough
know.
going on right now.
I know. I don't think I'd want it.
Yeah.
And, maybe assistant town manager. Because I wouldn't want all the meetings and the finance. I'd be
Yeah.
like, I'm more of like, let me out there, interact with people, get things done.
Yeah.
So I know he has a lot on his plate.
He does have a lot on his plate.
And I know sometimes I don't help. So
Well, I think he's doing what he can, and we've seen some progress on some things, and I think hopefully over the next 6 months, when he comes to his 1-year anniversary, we'll have a good feel for what we're in store for.
yeah,
But I think so far so good, and I do think the assistant town manager will be really helpful.
yeah,
I do think that'll be a helpful position. And hopefully the residents will see a result of that too, once that person or that position's filled.
yeah. Because you can't be everywhere and do everything.
No.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I have a meeting coming up with him, but I haven't had a meeting with him for a while because I know he's slammed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm thinking, my stuff can wait. I can look at that information, try to dig into it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Let me leave us with a good preview. Our next budget and finance meeting is going to be really helpful in terms of an overview. I met yesterday with Lori and the town manager, and we dug into some of the funds, and I think they're going to give a really clear overview for us going into the next fiscal year, so we can
Okay.
start preparing that. So that's going to be on the discussion piece of the next budget and finance meeting before our town council meeting.
Okay. Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Yes.
No, I think it's a huge difference since you took it over. You know what I mean? You're really digging into the finance. You're making it clear, understand a lot more.
Yeah.
It's a huge difference. So I appreciate that.
And
You're doing that.
we're gonna talk about new growth, which I think is going to be really helpful to demonstrate folks. I think showing the dollar amounts for new growth, and I mentioned this at the town council meeting, and I asked the town manager. I already knew the answer, like you had said, and he said new growth is down. So when we talk about all these builds, new growth is down. It's not adding up, right? So
It was this the town general fund operating with Blythe did all that. That's what she said.
Yeah.
New growth is down.
Yeah.
But yet our schools are full.
Right.
That confuses me completely.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know, Paul.
Another good conversation.
Yeah, and more questions, and we got the answer. So I appreciate you being on.
Mary, can I ask the next time? I think we should do it together with somebody else. Maybe we can invite our town manager in together.
Let's do that.
I
Yeah.
would love to do
Yeah.
sort of an interview process with you.
Okay. So, I got someone for the next week, but the following week we can do it right after one of the days after the town council. We can let the town manager know.
Yeah.
Kind of give him a heads up. What do you want to talk about?
Yeah. Maybe we can bring in our budget director and
Okay.
town manager and start talking about the fiscal year 27.
That's a really good idea.
Awesome.
All right.
All right. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.